Netflix's The Spy is a 6-part miniseries recounting the life and death of Eli Cohen, an Israeli secret agent who was instrumental in providing Israel with top-secret information within the highest ranks of the Syrian regime. While Sacha Baron Cohen, no relation, takes on a rare dramatic role,
Nice.
Who are the real-life characters portrayed in the series? Are some of them even real? And what did the show leave out? In this video, we'll be taking a look into the real-life spies and characters from The Spy. Spoiler alert if you haven't seen the show. The driving force of The Spy begins with then Prime Minister of Israel David Ben-Gurion chewing out Mossad member Jacob Shimoni due to their lack of an inside man in Syria, an event which pressures Shimoni to direct Mossad agent handler Dan Peleg to recruit someone, and fast. Both Jacob Shimoni and Dan Peleg are not based off real characters, rather they're derived from a collection of characters to make the story easier to follow. It is possible, however, that both Dan and Jacob's characters could be based heavily off Mir Amit, who was then Director General of Mossad and was the one responsible for coming across Eli Cohen's name in the pile of rejected candidates, a scene which is portrayed by Dan's character in the show. Dan, who acts as Eli's handler over the course of the series, expresses his concerns over training someone in the short time frame that the Prime Minister has requested.
You have 6 months, not a day more.
Impossible.
You want to go in there and tell him that right now?
It's also interesting that an actor who spent 6 years portraying a man weeding out spies on the Americans is now playing a character who actively helps them. Dan's hesitance to take on someone so quickly is spurred by what happened to one of his former agents, a man who's only known by his last name, Burek. This is also a fictitious character, used as a plot device to motivate Dan's unwillingness to hire Eli, who we'll get to in a bit. Dan knows the price that comes when an eager agent willing to prove himself is put into the field too early.
He's got something to prove. He wants it too badly.
I understand you feel responsible for him.
Don't patronize me, okay?
Dan feels responsible not only for the deaths of his former agents, but for the families they leave behind. This is why he feels obligated to help Eli's wife and children by buying them supplies, cooking them breakfast, and checking up on them from time to time. Nadia Cohen, Eli's wife, is in fact a real person. They married in 1959, and as the series portrays, she did not know about her husband's involvement in Israeli intelligence. In the last episode, we see Eli writing his final letter to her in which he says the following: "I am begging you, my dear Nadia, not to spend your time in weeping about something already past. Concentrate on yourself, looking forward for a better future. Remarry so that the kids have a father and you have a partner." Nadia never remarried. She also had a third child with Eli, a boy who is never depicted in the show. Nadia would spend the rest of her life commemorating Eli and, along with Eli's brother Maurice, try to get his remains sent back to Israel. Maurice Cohen is another real character and, as depicted in the show, attended to the incoming telegrams for the Mossad, and, like in the show, discovered his brother's secret identity while decrypting incoming messages from Agent 88, Eli's codename. Eli Cohen was a risky choice for the Israelis. Born in Alexandria, Egypt, Eli had a criminal record for alleged Zionist activities following a military coup in 1951. When the Egyptian government stepped up Jewish persecution, he moved to Israel in 1956, where he became a counterintelligence analyst. It was when he was rejected by Mossad that he resigned from the military and worked as a filing clerk. Although Eli was a risky choice, he was also perfect because of his Arab background. Not only did he speak Arabic, he looked Arab too, something that never made him really fit in Israel.
You know what they see when they look at me?
I know what I see.
They see an Arab. That's it. Jewish, yes. But just an Arab.
With the help of Mossad, Eli was trained physically, mentally, and was taught how to speak with a Damascus accent. It was then that he was given the alias Kamal Amin Tabat, a wealthy businessman who would later infiltrate Argentina. It was in Argentina that Eli began hosting lavish parties and befriended then Syrian military attaché Amin al-Hafiz, a relationship he would cultivate that would eventually lead him to become the Syrian Minister of Defense. In the show, Eli is depicted as showering Amin with expensive gifts to gain his trust, a technique he utilizes to gain access to other influential people such as Sheikh Majid al-Ard. Now, I couldn't find a photo of Majid, but I did stumble across an interesting story not covered in the show. When Israel found out Eli's connection to him, they knew he had connections with Nazi war criminal Franz Rademacher, who had fled to Damascus and changed his last name to Rosello. Eli used Majid to locate Rademacher and provide a description to Israeli intelligence. After his move to Syria, Eli would befriend a soldier named Zahir Mazi, who was nephew to the chief of staff of the Syrian army, Abd al-Karim Zal al-Din, the same military officer who Eli would help overthrow so that Hafiz could take power in the 1963 coup d'etat. Mazi would prove instrumental in providing Eli with pivotal information, showing him important positions of military personnel and bases where future fortifications were to be built. Eli recounts that one time when Mazi was staying over at his place, he noticed an unusual radio antenna and asked Eli what it was for. Eli explained it was to pick up radio signals coming from Buenos Aires, which Mazi never even questioned. Eli's relationship with Hafiz, however, would put him under the looking glass of Ahmed Suidani, who was appointed as Syrian intelligence colonel. He was a man that trusted no one and disliked Cohen immensely. So much so that on Eli's final trip to Israel, he asked that his assignment be terminated. But with the idea of having a spy in the second-in-command position in Syria too much to give up, Eli was sent back to Syria where he would later be found. Unbeknownst to Eli, Suidani had stepped up efforts to find the mole within their ranks and hired Soviet experts with tracking equipment to locate any illegal transmissions. Eli was indeed caught in the act of sending transmissions to Israel upon his capture. But perhaps the most infamous cameo in the series are the bin Ladens, both Mohammed bin Laden and his son, mastermind of 9/11, Osama bin Laden, who is seen briefly here as a child. Bin Laden needed Eli and his shipping hookups to discreetly ship large pipes to be used in an operation called Shalal, whereby the Syrians would drain Lake Tiberias, cutting off Israel's access to fresh water. In my research, I couldn't find any mention of Shalal or Eli Cohen's connection with bin Laden, so the extent to which this was dramatized in the show has me questioning its veracity. But if you happen to know more, I'd love for you to comment below. That's it for this video. I hope you learned a little bit more about the characters in the show, and I want to hear your thoughts in the comments, and make sure to like and subscribe with that bell on for more videos. You can follow me on Twitter at ThinkStoryYT, and until next time, remember, Daddy loves you very much.